Lore Together is proud to be part of the Boss Rush Games network. Feel free to find out more at bossrushgames.com/network. Hi, I'm Safi.
And I'm Mystic.
And this is Lore Together. This is a podcast where a husband and wife team talk about all the world building, settings, characters, and all the other parts of video games because it's what we like to do together. We lore together.
Yep, and this is episode 29.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us. Just a little caveat, our little buddy may be in the background because we record around his bedtime.
If you'd like to contact us, you can do that on Twitter at LoreTogether, on Instagram at LoreTogether, through email at loretogether@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support us, you can do that by going to patreon.com/loretogether, where we need to put new goals up to get consoles so we can play some games that we don't have access to.
Right, I keep on forgetting that. And also, I keep alluding to this Keith David episode. The thing that I might have mentioned in the last episode, I forget, but I just started a new job last week, so things have been a bit topsy-turvy, but the research has already started for the Keith David episode, and I can easily finish it.
Yeah.
So we should be good.
The mini Keith David episode is going to be a mini episode, and that will be patron exclusive.
Patron exclusive.
Every other week, the week after our episodes come out, we do a public stream of the game we talked about.
Right. So last time we did Halo, and that was pretty fun, especially because I had to stop because did I get lost and then I had to give it to you, Mystic, or something like that?
Pretty much.
Yeah, because Safi's not the best at games. Even though I love video games, I'm just not the best at them.
Well, I've been playing video games for a long time, and we're about to cover a series that I have been playing since the beginning, pretty much.
Really? Wait, how long ago was that?
Don't be coy. This was spoiled for you already.
Okay, guys, I worked from home today, and I figured out what it was. But still, how long ago was that?
Okay, so we're going to be covering a specific Mario game today. But the franchise as a whole kind of started in 1981 with the release of Donkey Kong to the arcade.
Right. The classic arcade game where you'll be like, why? For those of you who are too young to understand.
It's not even Mario yet. It's Jumpman.
It's Jumpman, yes.
Yeah.
Some of you might not even understand that there was a time when a Mario game wasn't even named after Mario.
Right.
But this was one of the first arcade games that Nintendo sent out. And Nintendo, if you're not in the know, started as a trading card company.
Nintendo has been around since, I believe, the 1880s. I can't quite remember exactly because I didn't research that stuff for the episode.
Right. That's not lore. That's business stuff. And there are
Which we do cover sometimes.
Yeah, but plenty of other people have covered the history of Nintendo before us.
Yeah. So anyway, Mario Brothers, brainchild of Shigeru Miyamoto, who has been working at Nintendo basically his whole career at this point. He's still there. He works on all sorts of franchises.
Mm-hmm. He's one of the big names.
He is one of the big names. When we talked about Beyond Good and Evil, he was one of the 3 people knighted, along with Michel Ancel.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, so 1981, Donkey Kong comes out, which features Jumpman. This is the prototype, kind of Mario. 1983, Mario Brothers, the arcade game, comes out. This was kind of like a versus platformer type thing. Everyone has kind of seen this. It's just, a static screen with a bunch of platforms and a bunch of pipes.
Okay.
Like there's no adventure, there's no whatever. It's just competitive, coin guzzling stuff.
So the semblance of a story hasn't even started yet.
No. And then finally in 1985, we have Super Mario Brothers 1. And the Mario franchise, I don't think is quite appreciated for how large it is sometimes. There's over 200 games in this franchise.
Okay, at first I was like, no way, but thinking about it, because you have so many different spin-offs. You have Mario Kart, you have
adventure, platforming, puzzle, racing, party games, sports games, including the Olympics.
That I believe.
Educational games.
Yes, yeah, my brother growing up had a couple of those.
And RPGs, one of which we'll be touching on.
Ooh.
It is the best-selling gaming franchise of all time.
Has to be. If you guys don't know what Mario is and you're listening to this, where have you been for the last 30 years? Just, you missed it.
that kind of ties into our latest patron, actually. Welcome to our
Oh.
latest patron, Late to Gaming,
Hey, Late to Gaming.
who was not exposed to gaming.
Right.
Yeah.
Late to Gaming has a blog talking about their experiences as they're starting as an adult to get into the video game world. So we suggest you check it out. We'll try to put a link in the, I guess what
The
we don't-
description.
The description. We don't call it a doobly-doo here because this is not YouTube. So
We're also not the Green Brothers.
you would be surprised how many people have just stolen
Right.
doobly-doo.
Nintendo. Surprising. Here's one thing. Nintendo has 3 of the top 4 best-selling franchises.
That I believe.
Mario's the top.
Yes.
Tetris is the second. It is not a Nintendo property, but of course it is most famous originally for being on the Game Boy.
I played this on the Game Boy, not the original big gray brick, but the next generation of it. Where
Game
you
Boy Pocket.
No.
Color?
No. So right before they had color, they were like, we could make Game Boys that aren't gray. So you could get
Yeah, that was
them.
the Pocket.
There wasn't.
It was a little bit thinner.
No, it wasn't.
Really.
Yeah, there were ones that were not thinner,
The big fat ones, but
But
just different colors.
just different colors, and they had a clear version of it, so you could see all the wiring underneath. And that was the one I got for Christmas.
I don't remember those.
And then I'd play Tetris forever. So the song has been stuck in my head for my entire life.
Next up in the top 4 is Pokemon.
Yeah, because you got to catch them all. Like, yeah.
And then here's the weird one. The number 4 best-selling franchise? Mm-hmm. The Super Mario platformers by themselves.
What? Okay. All right.
So Mario as a whole, if you count all the games, is the best-selling.
Okay.
If you count just the platformers alone, it's the 4th best-selling.
This feels like when people say some of the biggest economies in the world are just other companies, and you're like, that shouldn't work.
I
like
believe,
that.
I forget what the next one after that is. I think it was FIFA.
That makes
Yeah.
sense, because that's an international appeal right there.
So anyway, we're going to be covering Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64. This came out in 2000.
Yeah, I think I remember this.
This was developed by Intelligent Systems, which is a Nintendo subsidiary, kind of.
Okay.
And we're just going to jump right into it. This is an RPG,
All right.
very much in the vein of, turn-based RPGs, the classic JRPG formula, and has a unique aesthetic where everything is kind of paper.
Right.
I'm going to put this out there now because there is this kind of break, because the Paper Mario franchise is its own large franchise, and there's also a separate RPG franchise called the Mario and Luigi franchise. We're not touching those at all.
Okay.
But the Paper Mario franchise has this weird halfway point at this point. I haven't looked into the newest one, but it's like the first 3 games, they don't acknowledge that anything is paper.
That's just the way it looks, but they don't call
Right.
it paper. Okay.
There's like a curse in one of the games that you get rolled up like a piece of paper, or you can turn into a paper airplane to whatever, but they don't say anything about it. It's just a thing that happens.
Weird.
Then you get into a part where you get, I think it was Sticker Star, where people acknowledge like, I'm a sticker or something, and it kind of has this weird like disconnect. I read a great fan theory
Oh.
that said the first 3 games are canon Mario adventures.
Okay.
The other games are storybooks in the universe.
Oh. So this is kind of like the fan theory that the Schumacher Batman is actually a movie in the Tim Burton
Right.
Batman universe. Okay. Yeah, I could dig it. I can dig it.
So we're going to start way above the clouds, beyond the sky, in Starhaven.
Starhaven. So a place that was made for this particular series, I assume, because there's no reference to it before. Okay.
The thing about Mario games in general is trying to find a continuity between them is almost impossible.
Oh yeah, I've been watching you play Super Mario Odyssey recently, and it's like this has nothing to do with anything we've ever done before.
Right. Peach's castle is always different. It's just everything changes. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of every game is a different telling of the same universe.
Okay.
Okay. So in Starhaven, there is the Starhaven Sanctuary where there rests the Star Rod. Now, the Star Rod is a magical item that can grant any and all wishes.
So like, Dragon Ball Z balls?
In a weird way, yeah, because in this game in particular, I did think of that when I was reading this. We're not covering the whole game today, just so you know. This is only going to be part 1.
Oh, this is a 2-parter.
It's an RPG. There's a lot to cover.
Okay, I'll
Which
grant you that.
makes me feel bad to say that now that I think about it, that Mario is getting 2 episodes. Jade Empire got 1.
Well, I wouldn't feel bad about that. I don't know.
Honestly, it's really the fact that the wikis are better managed for Mario stuff.
There's probably a larger dedicated fan base to making sure that everything is accurate. And Jade Empire is literally just one game where you're doing a series.
When we cover Mass Effect, it'll probably be, just the first game would probably be 2 episodes.
There's so much in that game.
Yeah.
That first game was just chocked full of game.
The Star Rod is used and protected by the 7 star spirits.
Okay.
They are Eldstar, Mamar, Skolar, Muscular, Mistar, Clevar, and Kalmar.
Gotta be punny with all of those, don't we?
And literally the names translate to eldest, motherly, scholar, muscular, miss, star, clever, and calm.
Right.
Nintendo is not a deep game company.
They usually don't make the deepest of games, no.
So actually, no, I take that back. Sometimes they do.
Well, they'll have deep ideas, but they'll have simple representations of those deep ideas.
They want to be accessible.
Exactly.
So they watch over the Mushroom Kingdom.
Okay.
And the reason, okay, I want to say here, the reason I'm doing Paper Mario is there is lore, but it also lets us dip our toes into all the different major things that would be in the platformers that, let's be honest, the platformers usually are the princess has been kidnapped by Bowser. You must go rescue her.
Yeah,
by
how many
traversing-
times is this poor princess going to be kidnapped by Bowser, by the way? I don't know how much longer I have to deal with that being the plot, but...
At this point, it's kind of part of the joke because characters will be like, again?
That's fair. I'm glad that they're at least self-aware enough to acknowledge that this is getting repetitive.
The thing about the Paper Mario series also that I like is Peach may still be the damsel in distress, but she's not just sitting there. She tries to help out as she can.
I think this has been more true as the games go on, and then when they had the Super Princess Peach game, they tried to do that. Although, you can criticize a lot of how they did that.
So let's break down the Mushroom Kingdom. It is a peaceful kingdom ruled over by Princess Peach Toadstool, and sometimes her father, the Mushroom King, though he is only seen in the comics and other non-game material.
Okay, so clarify this for me, Mystic.
Yes.
Her father is a mushroom, right?
No, her father is human.
Okay. Why do I have an impression of that? Like I've seen that before? Or maybe there's an elderly mushroom.
There is. The elderly mushroom is... Probably saw it in Super Mario Sunshine or a later game.
Yeah.
It is Toadsworth. It is kind of like her butler, her servant, whatever.
Oh, yeah, her valet, maybe.
Yeah. And it is Princess Peach Toadstool. Her last name is Toadstool. Her first name is Peach.
Okay. Her middle name is Kidnapped. Peach Kidnapped Toadstool.
So, one day, King Bowser Koopa, we'll get to the Koopas in a minute, and Kammy Koopa steal the rod.
Kammy Koopa.
Yes.
Wait, not one of the Koopa siblings we've seen in previous games.
No.
Just want to make sure for my own older gamer brain that I know what we're talking about.
This is not any of the Koopalings.
Koopalings, okay.
Yeah. And Kammy Koopa traps all the star spirits in cards because paper.
Okay.
Elsewhere in the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario and Luigi get an invitation from Princess Peach for a party at the castle. During this huge party, Mario and the princess meet up, and then as they're about to go out on the balcony to be alone and talk, literally that's what they say,
Very innocent.
Bowser's castle, like this earthquake happens, and Bowser's castle breaks out from under Peach's castle, lifting it into the sky on top of it.
What kind of technology does this man have access to?
You just have to kind of go with it.
Yeah, I guess.
And literally they're off in space. Like they're up above the clouds.
Toads in space.
Bowser and Kammy Koopa kidnap Peach,
Of
foiling
course.
Mario's rescue attempt by making Bowser invincible using the Star Rod, and then they just cast Mario out of a window where he starts falling back to ground.
That doesn't sound survivable. When I've tried that before, I lose all of the health in my little health pie. Or all my hearts, I should say.
Yeah, and Mario is just falling through space, and then we get the title sequence. Now, prologue.
Oh, great. We're doing this now.
Yeah, they have chapters and prologues and stuff. We're going to get up through chapter 3. We'll get to basically the intro to chapter 4, and that'll be it this time.
Okay.
So, prologue, a plea from the stars. Mario eventually lands in a forest.
Okay. Safely?
Non-responsive. He's...
Ouch.
The star spirits kind of appear. They're not... It's kind of like they're astral projecting, which is kind of funny when you think about that now. And they basically give a little bit of energy to save his life, but they can't revive him. So he's just laying there.
Oh, so he's alive but asleep.
He's alive, but really in a bad way. Mm-hmm. And a friendly Goomba runs up. We'll get to a Goomba in a minute, too. I'm going to basically get to a point, and then we're going to cover all these different races.
Okay.
A friendly little girl Goomba runs up.
So, in a friendly Goomba, that's a rare thing in this game.
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could explain that later. I'm sorry.
And basically goes, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? You look like Mario, because Mario's famous.
Yeah.
And basically realizes he's not moving and calls her family in to take him to their village. So he wakes up days later in Goomba Village.
I didn't realize Goombas were so organized.
This is a tiny village west of Toad Town. Okay, let's cover all those different words, all those different races for people who have no idea what we're talking about.
This is kind of a word salad right now for those who have never played the series.
Okay, Bowser.
Yes.
He is a Koopa. His name is King Bowser Koopa.
King Bowser Koopa. Okay.
Yeah. Or King Koopa Bowser. It changes. He's also Demon King Bowser in one translation.
With that music, I could see it.
Yeah. Generally speaking, Koopas are turtle-like creatures. Mm-hmm. There's many different varieties. Some are large, some are small, some are strong, some are weak, some have spikes, some don't, some fly, some don't. There's a lot of different things here.
Yeah.
But generally, a Koopa is a turtle-like creature within the Mario universe. Many, though not all, are part of Bowser's Koopa Troop.
Okay.
This is a weird translation, actually. I found this out. In Japan, it's called the Turtle Tribe.
I think that sounds better to me.
Yeah.
But...
localization discontinuity is rampant in a series this old.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
In Japan, it's always been this. It was mistranslated back in the 80s, and we have to keep it that way.
So we're now stuck with the Koopa Troop as much as the Turtle Tribe just sounds so adorable. I want to be part of the Turtle Tribe.
And they range from the lowly Koopa Troopa.
Okay. Yes. The ones that just kind of pace around waiting for you to hop on them.
Up through Magic Koopas like Cammy. Cammy Koopa is a Magic Koopa. She is basically a witch, wizard, what have you.
Okay.
And Bowser himself seems to be his own type. It's just called Bowser type.
Okay.
I think all the Koopalings are all his type too, as well as Bowser Jr. That's a whole nother franchise.
Yes. Bowser Jr. is a conundrum in itself.
Especially if you play Mario Sunshine and you're like, what? Okay. Peach, Mario, and Luigi. Humans.
Yeah.
Though, according to a really old design document for Yoshi's, they are called Homo Nintendonus.
Oh, come on. Really?
This makes some more sense, actually, when you get to Super Mario Odyssey and you actually have humans that look like humans.
Right, which...
although those are called New Donkeyians, I believe.
Yeah, in New Donk City, where Pauline is the mayor, which was an interesting twist.
It's actually kind of interesting because in an earlier version of Super Mario Odyssey, they were like Mario-looking humans.
Right.
So they changed that at some point to be realistic humans. It's really weird.
Why would you do that? That just seems... I prefer the cartoonish spirit of Mario games. That's just me.
Goombas, a sentient fungal-based species.
I mean, that's a sci-fi story I would love to write.
They resemble small brown mushrooms, and as a collective race, they used to be allied with the Mushroom Kingdom. Obviously, makes sense. Now, most, though not all, have joined the Koopa Troop. They have 2 feet and no arms, which is amazing because half of them in the RPG series use tools.
Yeah, it's like they have floating invisible arms to be able to do what they want. So Goombas broke off, and all right, okay, that's an interesting. I wonder what the story is as to why they broke off and joined the Koopa
I don't think
Troopa.
they've actually ever really given it a definitive thing because that would be kind of, a little too...
That they're saving
potentially
that
digging
for the
knife.
Super Mario RTS series. I know. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Have they done a strategy game?
I would, you know what? That's where they should start if they haven't yet. Why the Goombas separated from the Mushroom Kingdom? That's the RTS plot that Super Mario obviously needs right now at this moment.
And lastly, we're going to cover, at least for this block of races, toads. Another sentient fungal race, though these are humanoid with arms and legs. They also have large, bulbous, like mushroom caps on the top.
And including our favorite character, who's simply just named Toad.
Yeah. These are mostly allied with and make up most of the population in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yes. Also, my mother likes to say that our son looks like Toad, which I'm not sure if I see it, but it makes her feel better when she's playing Super Mario Kart.
So, while Mario is sleeping, he gets a vision from Eldstar, the oldest of the stars, to go to Shooting Star Summit.
This is sounding kind of biblical.
Shooting Star Summit is basically the tallest point below Star Haven. It's kind of like the easiest way to contact it.
No, but I just mean the idea of like he went
vision
through a
and-
great travesty, and then he has a vision. I went to Catholic school where we did musicals for Bible stories, and literally one of the songs for Jonah and the whale has been stuck in my head. And if anybody else knows what kids musical I'm talking about, I just want to say I'm trauma bonding with you right now, and I'm sorry.
So, Goomba Village is just one family of Goombas and a toad. Mm-hmm. Basically, the Goombas have brought Mario out of the forest and given him to the toad to take care of.
Okay, the one with limbs, yes.
Basically,
Well, the one with arms, I should say. They have feet, so.
And the toad tells him, like, the Goombas are the ones who rescued you, and you should go talk to them. So he goes out to meet them, and here we meet our first party member, Goombario.
Does he look like Mario because he's a Mario fan?
No, but
Okay.
he is the self-proclaimed biggest fan of Mario.
Okay.
His little sister, Goombaria,
Wow, so creative,
is the one
guys.
who found Mario
All right.
and called her father Goompapa,
Oh, come on.
and her grandfather Goompa,
So Goompa and then Goompapa. Oh
and
my
of course, she called Goombario. Goompa is the one who tells Goombario to accompany Mario. Kammy Koopa is also keeping tabs on Mario at this point, and we travel to Shooting Star Summit. I am actually glossing over a lot of stuff. I'm glossing over some side stuff with Junior Troopa, who is a baby Koopa Troopa who kind of makes repeat appearances throughout the game to fight you because he's a bully.
Okay.
And there's a fight with the Goomba King.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, also Cammy blocks your path and you have to do a little side quest. There's a lot of like busy work side quests, basically where you have to go here, do this, and then you can progress forward.
Okay, so there's
Go
cute
here, yeah.
and there's cute ways to justify it.
Right.
But
Basically, you have to go, and usually it all plays into the game. Like, you have to go get a hammer from Goompa to break this block that Cammy put in the path. So yeah.
okay.
So I'm glossing over a lot of that because it doesn't contribute. It's just world building and not world building. It's flavor text. We also get scenes of Bowser and Cammy discussing Mario's progress or their plans. I'll touch on those if they are important. The first time we see it, it's really not. It's just like foreshadowing type stuff.
Okay.
At Shooting Star Summit, this is after traveling through Toad Town and you get to Shooting Star Summit.
Okay.
The Star Spirits run down what has happened and let Mario know that he has to free them all. Then they can give him the ability, I forgot to write it down, I think it's called the Star Beam, to defeat Bowser, basically overpower this invulnerability that he has,
Okay.
and save the princess. However, communicating, since they're all scattered all over the place, has made them weak, so they all disappear.
Oh, interesting little caveat there. I've used all my power to. It's the equivalent of help me Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope, and then that's it.
Yeah,
That's all
pretty
you
much.
got.
We cut to Peach in her castle, atop Bowser's castle, in space.
What a horrible place to be imprisoned in.
She's basically in her own room. Yeah.
Ground control to Major Peach.
She is lamenting the fall of the kingdom and the problems of its citizens if Bowser isn't stopped. Basically, she is, for all intents and purposes, the leader. Her father is usually, when he is shown in the comics, is usually shown to be kind of ineffectual as a leader.
Oh, so they're basically one of their excuses is part of the reason that King Bowser is kidnapping her is because she's the actual brains behind the kingdom.
Also, he wants her. The Spirit Stars do tell Mario that they almost never grant King Koopa's wishes.
Oh.
And his wishes are like, I want to trounce Mario, or I want Peach to like me.
Ooh. This is okay. This is sounding very I mean that's just the classic story of the sad guy who can't understand that you don't get a girl to like you just by being
Macho.
Like, you have to have a personality and have things in common and stuff.
Right.
And not that I understand what Peach and Mario have in common, other than they're both human, to be perfectly honest. But
They both like the same things.
I
They're
will
both in sports all the time.
I will say, I mean, even Luigi and Daisy seem to have more in common because they're both brunettes that happen to be tall.
So as she is lamenting this, it is then that Bowser shows up to gloat, and he does offer her anything she wants as long as he approves of it.
Uh-oh.
It's worth pointing out, he could just wish for her to like him. He has the rod,
Right.
but he doesn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing.
It might be an ego thing. Like,
But he wishes for it before he has the rod.
well, but maybe he's recontextualized it. Maybe it's more like, well, if I become so cool, she can't help but to like me, right? So I don't know. That's just me making excuses for a story I didn't write.
So they leave, and Peach wishes someone could help her. Then there's a tapping at her balcony door, and here we are introduced to Twink. He is a star spirit as well, but he is just a star kid.
Twink the Star Kid is not. This is not something I expected of Mario. There's so many things you're saying that I could make immediately more
Problematic.
and adult, and we're just not going to do it this
Nope.
episode because it's Mario.
He's only been in the sky since yesterday, and
Aw.
Peach asks him to take the star rod from Bowser, and he can't. He's too wee. And
He's
then
so
she goes,
sweet.
can you get me out of here then? And he can't do that either.
Aw.
And Peach understands he's just a star kid. But he can take her pendant, her lucky star, and find Mario and give it to him. That he can do.
And what is the pendant supposed to do for Mario?
It's a gameplay thing. It basically means you can do action commands or whatever. But within storyline, I guess it would be like, this is hers.
So this Twink is now on a mission.
Twink acts as kind of a go-between between Mario and Peach.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, he is able to kind of sneak out and give messages to Mario, but he spends most of the time with Peach because she has no one else. She's kind of alone in the castle.
Right. This sounds like the beginning of a musical, to be perfectly honest.
We wrap up this prologue in Toad Town, where Merlon the Fortune Teller, I believe he's also a wizard, is looking for Mario. Merlon tells Mario, after a very long and technical ramble about how he knows what he knows and all this important stuff, that literally Mario falls asleep and all the text just starts becoming dots. And then Mario wakes up and it's finally like back to text again.
This just reminds me of in the Deadpool game. So talking about making an adult
There's
out
a
of nowhere.
Deadpool game?
There is a Deadpool video game, and there's a point where he talks to Cable, where if anybody knows the Marvel Universe, Cable, time travel, he's a very serious, boring guy. And Deadpool is like, please make him stop going on. And there's this whole thing where you could just see Deadpool crying, and then finally, because Deadpool can regenerate, the way he stops it is that he shoots himself in the head. And Cable's
jeez.
like, it literally has your reaction is like, you're being dramatic. Stop it, Deadpool. Like, don't do it.
Basically, Merlon tells Mario that his search will have to start in a fortress to the east where the Cooper brothers are guarding one of the stars.
Okay.
Chapter 1, Storming Cooper Brothers' Fortress. Finding the fortress inaccessible, our heroes head to Koopa Village nearby.
Now you say Koopa Brothers and Koopa Village, and now suddenly I feel like I want to start a shop that's Koopa Brothers coffee. Have a Koopa coffee.
There is a coffee, I think there's a coffee brand that you can see advertised in the Mario Kart games. I'm not 100% sure, though.
Oh, I gotta look this up later. I now have a business decision, and I need somebody who's rich and easy to persuade to give me all their money.
So they head to Koopa Village, only to find the place infested with fuzzies, who are stealing Koopa shells.
What do these fuzzies look like?
Fuzzies are small black furred creatures with spiky bodies. They have
Spiky.
they have strabismus eyes and large teeth. They have some intelligence and can speak, but are mostly wild. For a note, I had to look up strabismus because that was on the Mario Wiki, and I was like, what is that
Excuse
about?
me?
So strabismus is commonly called lazy eye, although lazy eye is a separate condition. Lazy eye is a
Oh.
blurred vision that is often associated with strabismus, but it is not the same thing.
Okay. Where is strabismus more the like wandering eye? Like they kind of
Strabismus is basically your cross-eyed.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
A Koopa named Cooper asks for assistance when he gets his shell back, and basically that's the quest of the village is to get his shell back.
Yeah.
And when he gets his shell back, he is so grateful that he joins the party to be like his mentor, Professor Colorado. Think Indiana Jones.
I was gonna say that sounds exactly like what we're talking about here.
Professor Colorado is an archaeologist who solves mysteries and stuff and travels the world. And
and you could tell that this was made by people who have never been to America because if you were like,
Well, don't
"Oh,
forget, this is all translated by, I think these are translated by Nintendo Treehouse, which is a Nintendo of America.
Right, but I'm saying culturally, we wouldn't think of Colorado as a name, but if you said Professor Montana, you would know exactly what the person was referencing and trying to make
It's also
fun of.
Colorado with a K.
I think that but that makes it worse for me. It makes me think of koalas. I don't know why. That means it's
But
not
it's Koopas.
necessarily Koopas with a K. Professor Colorado. I guess I get it, but then koalas. I don't know. That's just where my maybe I am wrong in this instance, and that's fine.
Right. So with Cooper's help, Mario gets into the fortress, and as he's exploring through the fortress, he falls into a trap,
It's a trap.
landing in a prison cell with a bunch of Bob-ombs.
Oh.
Bob-ombs are living mechanical bombs with eyes, feet, and a winding key on their back.
And
They come in a variety of colors, and most, though not all, are in the service of King Bob-omb, a high-ranking Bowser minion. Color usually denotes whether they're friendly or not. Black Bob-ombs tend to be enemies. I believe there's pink ones, which are Bomb Buddies, which are the good guys. And I
Okay.
think there's a couple other different colors too. I think there's a white one as well. That's an admiral. I can't remember.
And I always feel bad that essentially if they're being forced into servitude, that they don't serve long because their goal is to basically run up to you and then go ba-boom.
Not always though, because within the Paper Mario series, we're about to meet someone who has an ability to come back. So basically, if you're named Bob-omb, I think you can come back from that explosion.
Okay. So if you're the main character, ba-bomb, you're fine. But
Yeah.
if you're not, so you have to walk your whole life hoping you're a main character, ba-bomb. That's still a very sad way to live.
Yeah. But in this prison, we meet Bombette.
Really? Really?
This is a game meant for
Does she have-
this is an E-rated game. I think this is one of the few E-rated game. I don't think we've covered an E-rated game yet. Actually, now that I think about it.
That's true, because a lot of the ones that have a lot of deep lore tend to be. We're in an era where a lot of video games.
They're usually
are
teen or
made-
above.
Yeah, because even Skies of Arcadia,
teen.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it has some dark themes in there, and a lot of
This
things.
has some dark themes too. Actually, we're gonna get to them right now.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that that when the lore's pretty deep, it usually means you're touching on things that are, tragic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's kind of the give or take of the storytelling of it all. But again, as you're going to say, this is an E-rated game, and you can touch on things tragic without it being too quote
Graphic.
unquote mature, or graphic.
Bombette was imprisoned for protesting the unfair working conditions under the Cooper brothers.
Oh yeah, fight the power, Che Guevara
she blew up next to them, and they didn't like that.
Hey, as somebody who comes from a city from the Haymarket riots, I'm all for it. This is fine.
They tossed her in the prison along with the rest of the Bob-ombs, who they were afraid would rise up and rebel.
Oh my gosh, she is.
We can't get away from politics.
This is literally the proletariat fighting the bourgeois. This is fantastic, and I'm all for it.
Here's the stupid thing. She helps everyone escape by showing Mario her ability.
What's her ability?
Her ability is that Mario can be like, hey, pick her up, toss her down, and she'll walk forward a few feet and blow up.
Yeah.
She shows this to Mario and blows up a section of the wall. And she's like, I never thought of blowing up that section of the wall.
She literally says that?
Yes.
This contrived cockamamie story.
Again, E-rated game. Kids, it's kind of that thing where kids and teens and, young at heart adults can all find enjoyment in it. Mm-hmm. And there'll be humor at different levels too.
Okay, yeah, I'm all for that.
In fact, I remember vividly in the sequel, there's it's called Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door, I believe it was called.
Yeah, I remember that title.
For the GameCube. There is a scene where Peach goes to take a shower.
Oh.
And this computer is watching her.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah. So again, multiple levels here because a kid is just like whatever, but an adult is like, ooh, that's weird.
That's a crime possibly.
She helps everyone escape and then joins the team. Basically, she has
Bambette helps escape and join the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eventually, Mario and company defeat the Koopa brothers, and Eldstar is released, skipping past a bunch of battle.
Right.
Meanwhile, Peach and Twink escape her room and find Bowser's diary, which he just left around.
This guy is so sloppy.
They find that another spirit shard is in Dry Desert. Bowser finds them, has the guards send Peach back to her room, and Twink slips away to Mario.
Right, because he is so wee.
Chapter 2, The Mystery of Dry Desert.
I feel my skin peeling off with how dry this is going to be.
The group travels from Toad Town on the Dry Railroad to Mount Rugged.
Mount Rugged.
Look, this is Nintendo.
I'm just going to make comments when I feel like a name just is way too obvious, but that's just me.
Lord of the Rings is one of the most celebrated literary franchises of all time, and it has Mount Doom.
Right. But at least, okay, you can forgive one Mount Doom when...
And Legend of Zelda is one of the most celebrated games and has Death Mountain.
Okay, you can forgive Mount Doom because the person who wrote that story invented several languages while he was writing it.
I know.
So I just want to say, if you do the work in other places, I'll give you some slack.
There's a lot of gameplay work being done here that Tolkien never had to worry about.
But the writing work was a different team than the gameplay work, so you can't be pulling that one on me.
They also had a lot less time than Tolkien took.
That's true. Tolkien did take his time with that story, that's for sure.
Here we meet Parakarry, a Koopa paratrooper mailman. In fact, it was he who delivered the invitation that started this whole thing.
Interesting.
Koopa paratroopers are Koopa troopers with wings and can fly. We mentioned there were numerous versions of Koopa troopers. Parakarry has dropped a bunch of his letters and offers to join Mario if Mario finds all the letters on Mount Rugged.
Okay.
Because when you first meet him, he's like, "Oh, I dropped a few letters around Mount Rugged. Can you find them for me?" Mm-hmm. You find them, and he goes, "Okay, I may have dropped a few more. Can I come with you?"
It's like, "Oh, this is great, but there's more work to be done. Can I just tag along and hope to find more letters?" Okay, I can see that happening. From some help from the leader of Dry Outpost, we eventually found our way to the Dry ruins. How many dry things? Okay, thank God, because it's like I felt like my sinuses were about to crack.
So Mario walks into the Dry ruins, and basically there's this scary voice. Well, sorry, not a voice, because this is the N64. They didn't have a lot of space for voices. There's a text bubble that looks scary. and basically saying "get out." Different.
I imagine
permutations
it
of
would
"get
speak in
out"
a voice like "Brr, get out. Brr." Sorry, that's just me
And-
making noises.
basically descending down. Basically, we're getting threatened by an entity called Tootin' Koopa.
Tootin' Koopa sounds like a Koopa that just ate way too many beans in the morning.
Descending down, we come face to face with Tootin' Koopa, who basically has an endless supply of chain chomps to send after you. Chain chomps, I didn't actually look up chain chomps, but they're basically dogs.
They're dogs that look like a ball and chain.
Yeah.
And they're so cute because to be honest, they're enemies that can hurt you, but it's just like the puppy that's barking way too loud over the fence, and it turns out it just wants to play. That's how I see chain chomps.
The chain chomp that always sticks out in my mind is the one in Bob-omb Battlefield.
Yeah.
In Mario 64.
Yes.
And I will have to say, I keep having to correct myself because I keep wanting to say Bomb-omb, but it's Bob-omb.
Bob-omb.
It's Bobomb. Mm-hmm. Basically, when you defeat Tootin' Koopa,
Sorry, I had to.
his chain chomp he's like, oh, my Chompy, I think is his name.
That's so great. Our son has a toy that we've named Chompy. So.
Yeah, it's one of his favorite toys. He's like, Chompy, and then Chompy chases him out, basically like, you've ruined, you're a bad master, blah, blah, whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so defeating him, finally, Mario frees Mamar,
Okay.
the mother star, basically.
Mamar.
Malamar. That's an old reference.
Right. That was part of what I'm thinking. Mamar. I don't know what.
Mamari?
Ooh. Not sure we should finish that thought there.
Bowser once again comes in to gloat at Peach, saying he's tapped the invincible Tubba Bubba.
Excuse
Sorry,
me.
Tubba Blubba.
The invincible Whatabahumanju?
Tubba Blubba.
Tubba Blub. What? Flubber? What is going on here?
Think of tub of blubber. Tubba Blubba.
Tubba Blubba. Stop looking at me like this is a logical sounding word for English.
Tubba Blubba. It makes sense.
Okay, continue with your freaking shenanigans trying to convince me of things that aren't true.
Cammy comes in just then with news that the Spirit Star has escaped Tubba Blubba. Tubba Blubba is a giant blue-colored spike, which is a Koopa subset with spikes on its shell. And
Okay.
usually they toss spiked balls. This guy's just big and large.
Okay.
Twink and Peach escape her room again to try and find more info and hopefully a weakness, since Tubba Blubba is called the invincible Tubba Blubba.
Right. So they're looking for his Achilles heel,
Yeah.
so to speak.
They eventually find out that it is rumored he has a secret weakness, but not what it is.
So he is not invincible, which
Right.
is always a good place to start. But it's much better to find out what the weakness is. I would like to think it's cupcakes with a name like Tubba Blubba.
Returning to Toad Town, a frightened guard tells Mario that he saw a ghost vanish into Forever Forest. I believe the guard's name is Feist.
Are you kidding me?
Ficet.
Okay, side note, this reminds me of the time when Mystic, you were running that D&D 4.0 game, and our friend decided he was going to be, I am General Eric Cliche. Generic Cliche.
That's the same friend who one time said a D&D campaign starting in Generic Falls.
Yeah, he was on that pun for a while.
It's not the worst pun. At least he did different pronunciations for it.
Yeah.
Mario goes to investigate in the forest and meets a Boo, who is a servant, and invites Mario to his mistress's mansion on the other side of the forest.
Okay.
And then says if Mario doesn't come, they'll get him in a big, scary way.
Oh, like he and his mistress will get him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Boos. Boos are spherical spirits of previously living beings.
Yes.
It is only mentioned, I think, once or twice that they are previously mentioned. I think actually one of the characters in Paper Mario, so Goombario's ability is that he can tell you about enemies.
Oh, okay. So
about other people, or where you are. He's kind of the info book.
he's the bard.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I forget who he says this about, but he basically says they were a shopkeeper before they were a Boo. So that's kind of like the only implication that boos are
Spirits from
Right.
formerly past beings. Okay.
they love to scare
Boo.
and are also bashful sometimes. Basically, if you look at them, they don't move. It's weird.
Yeah.
Most side with Bowser and King Boo, but again, not all do.
Right. Right. We are giving autonomy to our enemies, which is an interesting nuance for everyone.
Well, specifically
Rating game.
in the RPGs, they tend to have autonomy. Like you tend to have a good Koopa or a good Goomba or
Well, yeah, because they make more interesting characters than, like you're playing Super Mario Odyssey where you take control of stacked, mindless Goombas.
But even there's some weird, like, not. I remember distinctly there's one star you have to get by being a stack of Goombas tall enough to reach a Lady Goomba because she wants, like, a kiss or whatever.
Oh.
So there's some level of they're not baddies, even
Okay.
there.
Interesting.
Getting through the forest, Mario finds the mansion and Lady Bow.
She's also a boo, but she's Lady Bow.
Yeah.
Okay. Does she wear a bow?
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe she's a younger Boo compared to her butler named Bootler.
Seriously?
Yes. That is who invited us here.
Guys, this hurts.
You hate names that are just...
Way too obvious? Yeah. Yeah, it just pains me.
But that's the joke.
Yeah, is that the joke? Yes. Am I still going to groan a little bit? Yeah. It's like dad humor.
So here we get into the dark part, actually. Tubba Blubba has been eating booze.
No, what? Hey. Hey, I will not. No, that's
And
not
she
nice.
wants Mario to stop them. To stop
Right.
Tubba Blubba.
Yes.
As a reward, she offers Skolar, the spirit star who escaped Tubba Blubba's lair.
She's keeping it under hostage
He got
now,
lost in the forest.
but she can still use him as a bartering chip?
He's in a card.
Oh, so it's okay.
He's weakened.
Okay.
So they head to Gusty Gulch, which is where the peasant boos live.
Okay.
There we see Tubba Blubba eat a boo.
Yikes, that is kind of dark, guys. I wasn't expecting that.
Mario and company follow him.
Because Tubba Blubba probably shakes in a way where it's easy to follow where it's going. Blah, 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 blah,
And
blah.
basically they hide in Tubba Blubba's room and they find this key. I believe it's named Yaki
Does it talk?
because it talks.
Oh my gosh. Guys, I'm dying here. Oh gosh, this is going to be a painful 2 episodes.
And he talks too much. He assumes that they're thieves and yet still spills the secret of what he's the key to.
I will never tell you what I'm opening because it's right over there. And then if you knew,
Yeah.
you'd open me.
Did somebody tell you that I am the key that opens the Windy Mill where Tubba Blubba's secret is? Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And of course, Tubba Blubba's secret is locked inside Windy Mill. Inside the mill, they find Tubba Blubba's heart,
What is this, a Horcrux plot?
which has been controlling the body remotely. The heart was removed by Bowser, making the body invincible.
That is a Horcrux story almost. That's insane. All right. This is really dark. This is like somebody at Nintendo goes, hey, you're just going to have to trust me on this one. The kids are going to love it.
And like Tubba Blubba, every time you see him, has like this patch over his chest.
Oh, and you didn't think about it until that moment.
Like most people probably didn't think about it. It's not exactly not obvious, but it's also, you wouldn't think of it either.
Right. This is not a game where people removing organs is a normal occurrence. This is not Mortal Kombat.
Mario and the Heart fight is a statement I never thought I'd say.
I just have this image of them like doing karate when you say it like that. Wah, wah, wah.
And when it's nearly defeated, it runs from the fight out of the Windy Mill and finds the body. Tubba Blubba eats his heart.
This is
I mean, comically, like, just opens his mouth and the heart jumps in.
okay. I'm glad that that's how it is because this is getting really macabre right here.
And becomes vulnerable again, but, can fight.
Right.
However, being defeated, Tubba Blubba runs off and is this sensitive guy that the boos have been scaring the whole time because they're boos.
Oh, so
Yeah.
he was getting his revenge when he didn't have a heart. Okay.
Kinda, yeah.
So you don't feel as bad for the fact that he ate.
Well, he does.
Booze.
Also, all the booze come they're all in him still, so he just opens his mouth and all the booze come out.
Oh, okay,
And as
great.
I was
That's
watching
fine.
it, I'm like, they're gonna have one trailing one at the end, and it's like, like, yeah, of
Yeah.
course, there's one trailing one.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
Because honestly, I haven't played Paper Mario yet. I played the sequels.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't have this for the 64, so
Interesting. Interesting.
but I figured it was a good place to start.
Okay.
Also, I would get to learn stuff too. So Lady Bo gives the Spirit Star Scholar to Mario,
All right. We have.
and then joins the party because she had so much fun adventuring.
Did she do anything?
She is actually so all the party members do have their own abilities.
Right, but I just don't remember you mentioning her doing anything specific in the story.
In the story, well, okay, so she is the aristocrat over the booze at this point in this area.
Right.
And all the boos are basically protecting her. They actually mount, they all show up at Tubba Blubba's castle when you're in there.
Okay.
And they actually hold the door shut because they're protecting her.
Oh, okay.
But she has the ability also to turn Mario invisible, which saves him when Tubba Blubba comes to eat the booze.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's her special power. Okay.
Once again, Peach sneaks out of her room.
How
And
many
again, eavesdrops on what's going on.
They are really bad at securing this castle.
Oh no, this is bad actually. So twice there's this secret passage. It's basically this button, and then this giant thing turns around.
Does it make a big stone turning noise?
Yeah,
Oh man.
and literally in this scene, Bowser and Cammy are right next to it, and don't even acknowledge it until later.
Wow, guys.
Again,
Wow.
E-rated, and you just kind of have to go with it.
Right.
Cammy and Bowser say that Shy Guy's toy box would be the next likely place for Mario to go. Then they see Peach. Bowser turns this, though, asking Peach for information on Mario's weaknesses.
Oh, okay.
There's always it's always like, what is Mario most afraid of? And I think it was Goomba, Clubby, and mushrooms. So you always have the option to lie.
Okay, that's good to know.
And then he goes, Cammy, go impede Mario with all these things. And Cammy's like, I don't think we should trust the princess, but I'll do it.
Cammy's like, I recognize game when I see it. That's no.
Mario and Co. return to Toad Town to find it overrun with Shy Guys.
Oh.
Shy Guys, robe-wearing little humanoids that all wear masks that resemble hockey masks, basically 2 eyes and a mouth.
Yes.
It's not entirely clear if they're actually masks or if it's actually their face, because sometimes in some games, if they're sleeping, the eye holes close.
Yeah, I've been confused about that too. I don't know how to feel about the Shy Guys.
They tend to be enemies, but also sometimes seem to be independent.
Yeah.
So-
So now I want the Koopa Bros Coffee Company to have a Koopa coffee, but now I also want the Shy Guys burger joint. That's a riff off of Five Guys,
I believe there was a
obviously.
Cooper Shell oil or Cooper Shell gas in Mario Kart 64 to riff off Shell gas.
Yeah.
The Shy Guys are stealing many things in the town, and Mario and Co. trace the source to one vacant house. Using Lady Bo's invisibility power, they sneak in and see the Shy Guy opening a hidden door to a secret back room. Hiding inside is Shy Guy's toy box.
Oh.
And that's what we'll pick up next time with Chapter 4, Trials in the Toy Box.
Trials in the toy box, which means that are we gonna have wind up judges or something like that?
So that's Mario RPG, the first half anyway.
Part 1. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Well, there outside of the name puns, I had a great time.
Yeah, it's Mario always gets surprisingly deep for an E-rated franchise.
I would say with the RPG, that does not surprise me as much because if you're going to have a good story in your RPG, it's going to be thoughtful. A lot of people who are used to Western RPGs when it comes to video games like to make fun of JRPGs with their turnstile and everything. But part of the reason they do the turnstile gaming is because it helps them highlight more of the story and other choices and cutscenes and exploration you can do throughout the game.
Right.
Which, if you play Final Fantasy or any of those series, you would know that. If you're just looking at the combat and you're like, why has it got to be turnstile? It's like, well, it's because they're highlighting the story in a different way.
Right. So I guess that's where we're going to leave it for now.
Yeah.
Now I got to figure out how to get you to play, how to get Paper Mario for you to play.
I'm
Because
assuming,
we have it on the Wii U.
but I'm assuming there's also an emulator.
That'll probably be the most likely way of doing it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us this week, guys. That was
Thank you very
awesome.
much.
Thanks to Late 2 Gaming for joining our Patreon. And remember that after the Thursday after the show releases, that's when you can watch me play, which I promise will be better than me playing any first-person shooter
Or any platforming game.
or any platforming game.
I so wanted to just go over the stories of some of the Mario platformers, but I didn't want to be that mean to you.
We'll do it someday. Just not just yet. I should get some practice in first before anybody's subjected to watching me play that is not, married to me. So,
Sorry, well, we're going to call it there. So thank you
Yeah.
again.
thanks so much. We'll catch you guys next time with part 2.
Yep. Bye.